Hello guys, welcome back to an episode of the MD Investor. I know it's been a while, but we're back to talk about personal financial education, setting goals, achieving goals, breaking the cycle of generational poverty. Today I want to talk about personal finance education. Personal finance education. This topic came up because recently we refinanced our home because the interest rates are so low. And we also applied for a HELOC, home equity line of credit. And you go through the application, you're talking to the banker, you're going back and forth, get the information documents that we need, and they're asking you a list of assets, what accounts you have, liabilities, net worth. Basically, they want to know, do they have the assets available in case they are not able to pay the loan. They want to know because banks are in business to get money, which we all know that. What they did not ask me for was my diploma from high school. They didn't ask me whether I was in the top 10%, the top 1/3, the bottom 1/3. They didn't ask for college transcripts. They didn't ask, where was I in my graduating class, top 10, middle 20. They didn't ask for medical school diploma, any of that stuff. And it kind of made me think, you spend all this time in school studying, memorizing, doing all these things. You drive around, you see people with their bumper sticker, my son or my daughter, the honest student at so-and-so academy, you've seen them. My daughter's doing really well. She's in the AP class and so on. But when it comes to the real world, after they've graduated and you have all your debt and student loan, when they get to the real world, no one cares. The banker, they don't care. Nobody cares. When you go to make an offer on a house, no one cares, what's your GPA and all that stuff. Do you have the money? Is it liquid? Do you have the account money? That's what it comes down to. And I was thinking about my children, I'm sure your kids too, how they're not being prepared for this real world. One of my sons is taking Latin because it's in a Catholic school. I don't know about you, but I have never heard anyone speak Latin, besides maybe in a Catholic service. They pray in Latin and so on. And they're taking U.S. government, they're taking Spanish, they're taking gym. So you see the disconnect, right? Real world, assets, liability, cash flow, net worth, collateral. The school system or the formal education system, Latin, Spanish, government, GPA. I'm not knocking it. Your kid should try to do as well as he can. But it seems as if the formal education system is leaving our children, I can testify myself, totally and wholly unprepared, financially speaking, for the real world. It starts in the beginning, day one of our freshman year. All these credit card companies are there, willing to give you credit card. They have no idea. I'm sure you didn't teach them about debt, right? The minimum payments, but they start early on them, wholly unprepared. So we know that they don't teach personal finance in school. Right, we all talk about it. They do not teach you personal finance in school. They teach you a lot of stuff, but they don't teach you personal finance in school. A lot of people complain about that. I wish I would have known then what I know now. Oh, it would have been a whole lot different. True. But if it's not the school's responsibility to teach your kids, your grandkids, about personal finance, whose job is it? It's the parent's job. It's the parent's job to teach your children about personal finance. Just like it's the parent's job to teach your kid if you want them to learn the Bible or if you want them to learn whatever it is. Something you're, it's your responsibility. And we can't kind of push that responsibility on the school. I mean, the schools, they have their hands covered, right? Their hands are full with teaching your kid how to behave, how not to be mean to each other, how not to fight each other. Then I got to teach you on top of that, right? 30, 40 kids in a classroom. I'm definitely not going to be teaching them anything about any personal finance. So what's the school's job if it's not to teach them personal finance? The school's job is basically to create good citizens and good employees. That's it. They know that what they're teaching you, you're not going to really need for the real world. The Pythagorean Theorem. Anybody remember that one? Right? A squared, right, plus b squared equals c squared, right? So the square root of one leg of the right angle plus the square root, not square root, the square of the other leg of the right angle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is the length, the longest length. True, but completely useless in the real world, right? So, and this is stuff that we fill our head with, our kids are full of head. I always say that we know trivia, right? You watch Jeopardy, and they said, who's the second vice president? It's whoever it was. Those are trivia. It's nice, not useful in any way, but complete trivia. What you want is something that is functional, that you are able to use in the real world. The school's not going to do it. Your neighbor ain't going to do it. The church ain't going to do it. You have to take that responsibility on yourself. So if the school system's job is basically to create good citizens and good employees, all right? And you may ask why. Well, one is money. Employees are W-2 employees, right? They make ordinary income. And ordinary income, if you know, have the highest tax rate in the tax code. Ordinary income or earned income have the highest marginal tax rate in the tax system. So you need a lot of employees. We need a lot of good citizens just to follow the rules, go to work, so we could tax them, have money for the government. The school are not designed for the other way to make money. Entrepreneurs, they're not really there for you. They'll tell you. You watch Shark Tank? These people didn't learn that stuff in school. So they're not for entrepreneurs and they're not for investors. They're for employees. So how do the entrepreneurs, how do the investors get that education? Well, they're going to get it initially starting from home. A lot of these people, they'll tell you, my dad was an investor, my dad owned a small business. So study hard, get a good job is the knowledge that was passed, or the advice that was passed on to you from your parents. They didn't know any better. But we got to take it up to another level. Study hard, get a good job. Yeah. What if, we just went through, we're currently still going through the pandemic. What if there ain't no job? What if your job gets shipped to Mexico? What if your hours get cut? I studied hard, I got a good job. I was loyal to the company, but they weren't loyal to me. 100% of my income was active. I had no passive income coming in. So that advice is outdated. You have to teach your children personal finance. You have to teach them personal finance. So you may ask the question, what if I'm a parent and you say it's my job to teach them personal finance, but I don't know any personal finance? I'm not educated myself. The answer, quick answer is, then if you're not educated, then get educated. If you're not educated in personal financial matters, then get educated. This is the best time. You may say, to be ignorant, because the information is out there on the internet. There's books available, right? So you can get yourself educated by personal finance YouTube channels, financial blogs, personal financial and self-improvement books. Okay? Some of the books off the top of my head: Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, The Richest Man in Babylon. So these are books that changes your mindset, and that's how you begin to get yourself educated. But you have to make it a priority, right? You may say, where do I find the time, right? Well, you can maybe cut out some of the time you're using on non-productive stuff, right? The Housewives of Atlanta, the Housewives of New York, New Jersey. You can stop watching that stuff. Start getting yourself educated and teaching your children, so you can break the cycle, right, of generational poverty. We talk about that, right? So just a quick video to let you know that a lot of people say the system is broken. What do you mean? Well, I did all the right things. I went to school, I studied hard, I got a degree, and I got a job, and then they laid me off during the pandemic. The system is working just fine. The system was not designed for you to be an investor or entrepreneur, right? The system was designed for W-2 employees. So if you want to get out of that lane, then you need personal financial education, right? Use that money that you're getting from your active W-2 job to then invest in assets. What assets do you have, right? And for those who don't know, after Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket every month. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket every month. I made a video on that. You can check that out. But yeah, you have to get yourself educated. So teach your children, demonstrate to them, open a brokerage account. Okay, show them passive income coming into their account. Go to a investment compound interest calculator. Put some numbers in, right? Say if we start with 0 and we put $100 a month in at 10%, after 20 years, this is what we have. After 30 years, this is what you have. Expand your mind, open your mind. If we put $200 and do this, this is what we have. You have to start breaking that cycle. Nothing is real, or how should I phrase this? You can't go above your belief. Let me say that again. You can't go above your belief. If you feel that I'll never make it, you're right. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'll always be poor. I'll always be this. You're right. And the same person said, you know what? Those people are not any smarter than me. They're not any better than me. Yeah, maybe they may have been born into a better situation or whatever. But you know what? If I do this and I continue to do this over and over again, I will get from here. In 5 years, when I look back, I'm going to be this much further, right? But if I wait and do nothing, in 5 years, I'm going to be in the same spot. Okay? So you cannot rise above your belief. And your belief will only change when you begin to educate yourself. Okay? The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You have to continue to feed your mind. You have to continue to improve and study and learn and teach your children, right? Change the narrative from we have to always look up to the entertainer and the sports athlete. Though I want to be like that. This is a once in a generation talent. People look at LeBron and if I'm gonna be like him. No, you're not. He's a once in a generational talent. They were talking about him in the 9th grade. Are they talking about you? So stop, wasting your time. Okay? Sometimes we are so, I guess, attracted to these shiny objects, right? We know so much about these entertainers. The Housewives of Atlanta. We know who she was married to. She's the ex-wife of so-and-so. We know about Beyonce's first album. We know the name of the group she was in. We know she left and then she decided to get a solo career. And we know how much championship LeBron won, and we know how much championship Kobe won. And we know all these trivia, all these nonsensical facts. But you ask the same person, what's your expense ratio on the ETF that you're in. What's the expense ratio on the actively managed fund? Is it actively managed fund you're in, or is it passive? You know, the thing that we should know, you know, does your company match? How much do they match? The stuff that we should know, we don't know. So stop looking at all these idols, these athletes and all these entertainers, and try to emulate them, and look at your own self and try to teach your children and your grandchildren, right? The Bible says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Not even your, they go beyond your children, to your grandchildren. A good man leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren. But how are you going to leave something if you're broke? If you have no passive income, if you have no investment. So you got to educate yourself. So quick video from MD Investor to let you know that the system is working just fine. It was designed to create W-2 employees, not entrepreneurs, not investors. If you want to break out of that cycle, stop depending on the school system, start depending on yourself. Get yourself educated, and then begin to pass the knowledge on to your children and your grandchildren, so you can break the cycle of generational poverty. This is the MD Investor, and I will see you on the next one.